Okie dokie, artichoke. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Welcome to My Tent podcast. It is February 13th, 2024, and we are here for a solo episode. Well, it's February 13th when I'm recording this. It is coming out tomorrow on Valentine's Day, so happy almost Valentine's Day. We have a couple updates, some housekeeping, and then I have a couple things to talk through, which I'm kind of considering the evolution of my identity crises. Crises? Is that the right word? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to get into it. We are going to chat, and it's going to be really fun. So let's do it. Hi, hello, hey, and welcome to my tent, a place to hear life experiences, different opinions, a range of journeys, and a viewpoint different than our own. A place to challenge our own thoughts, a space to learn a little bit, and I promise some fun along the way. I believe we're better when we let a range of people into our tents, so welcome to mine. Hello, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day if you are listening to this on launch day. It's coming out tomorrow, as of right now, on Valentine's Day. So HVD, everyone, you are all my Valentines this year. Although I asked Ronan if he would be my Valentine, and he said no, but then said yes. So we're still a little unclear on that. Also, I am very sorry for how my voice sounds. I don't know what the hell is going on with my health, I guess. On Monday of last week, so over a week ago, whatever, I didn't feel well at all. Super congested, sinuses going crazy, had a fever, the whole 9 yards. But then on Tuesday, I was feeling a little bit better. But the weird thing is that I was brushing my teeth and realized that I could not taste the toothpaste. And then I realized that I could not smell anything either. But I tested negative for COVID 3 times. So we really aren't sure. But this lingering sinus thing is still going on. So I am sorry if you're cringing at the sound of my voice, because I assure you I am cringing right along with you. So that's the first kind of housekeeping update, is my apologies for that. But the second housekeeping item for the podcast is we're going on a little hiatus, a little intermission. We're wrapping up season 2, which I cannot believe. It's crazy that we have gone on for 2 seasons of the show, and I am loving it and just so ever grateful that people want to come on here and talk and people want to listen. So thank you all for being here. And some of you have been around since the inception, and some of you may be newer friends, but it's been really, really fun. But we will be going on a little break. I'll give more updates over on Instagram on when that's going to be coming back, but we have some time off because I need it, and that's that. So this will be the last episode for a while, but if you haven't listened to all of them, we have a bunch of episodes backlogged. So maybe an opportunity for you to catch up on some things, and more to follow on when we're going to be coming back. But that's pretty much it on the update front. The couple of things that I want to talk about today, I've batched into me feeling like I've gone through evolutions of identity crisis or crises. I still am unclear on what the plural of crisis is. It's kind of like the moose, mouse, meese thing. I think it's crises. I don't know. I'll look that up. Probably should have beforehand, but here we are. We do things. But there's a couple different areas I've been thinking about over the past few weeks of identity stuff and kind of where I am now versus where I was previously. And I think the first timely one to start with is Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow as of this recording, but is potentially today if you're listening to it live. And it is an interesting holiday because I kind of consider it to be a Hallmark holiday. It's one of those ones where Hallmark, wow, profits on the cards and the chocolates and the this and the that. And it just is kind of one of those really high pressure holidays where I used to feel immense pressure to make these grand gestures. But what I've realized over the years is that grand gestures one time in 365 days doesn't matter as much as many tiny or small gestures every day over the course of the year. I think that we should be loving each other every day or loving ourselves every day. Not to mention Valentine's Day is very directed at people with partners. So why can't we also shift that to loving ourselves or loving our friends or loving our family? So I've made some little Valentines for a lot of different people because I think that that's what it should be about. And it doesn't have to be this grand gesture thing. And what really drove this home for me was the other day we got a card in the mail from Grandma and Pops. It's Duke's mom and dad for Ronan. And it was an Elmo card. And Ronan is obsessed with Elmo. And it was just the cutest card. Happy Valentine's Day. Love Grandma and Pops. And Ronan has been carrying this card around for days, because he loves it so much. And it's simple gestures like that. Yes, it was around the holiday, but it's just showing up like that always and all the time. And our family does. And the way that we show up in our family and for each other, that's how we roll. And I don't feel bad about not making these crazy grand gestures anymore on Valentine's Day, to the point where every year for the past couple of years, I've made a point to put an I love you every day post up for my husband on February 13th. So I actually have to make that post for today. It's like my little pièce de résistance. But I promise you I'm not super grumpy. I think that we just can't get away with loving people one time a year. And I think I used to think that, like, oh, during the moments that matter or the moments that people are watching, we should show that, but we should show it every single day. So that is kind of the thing there. But a great thing to also note on any holiday, really, or anything where you're giving to someone, is that love languages are really important. And my love language is actually not getting gifts. That's my last. My love language is acts of service. So while florals are beautiful, I love an empty dishwasher 10 times more than flowers. And my husband knows that. So he shows up and shows that love all the time. And usually when we're thinking about doing things together, quality time is also really big for both of us. So the gift we give ourselves is doing something together, not necessarily like gifts or chocolates or flowers. So you could even think of doing something for someone that you love this year as a love language connection. So maybe that is unloading the dishwasher, because I really love it. I really do. And Duke knows that. So some of you are probably going to think I'm just the grumpiest human being ever, but that's all right. I'm all right with that. Second identity crisis. I'm reading off my notes here. And the title of this one is Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Had to get Dolly Parton in there, which is a great song, but also kind of the identity piece that I've really been looking at the past couple months as I've transitioned from a corporate girly to my own business. And I think it's also funny because I never really worked 9 to 5, even when I was in corporate. The hours were always longer than 9 to 5, but I will say it was much more of a Monday to Friday position. And it was even the simplest thing is having a corporate computer and a personal computer. And when that corporate computer was shut down, it was easier to let it go. And so much of my life now is so intertwined together, where my identity is also now really, really wrapped in to my job, where it was prior, but it's just a really different thing now. And I talked about this on my Instagram, and in my email newsletter over the past week, because I saw a post from someone that said, in a given week, we work for 40 hours and sleep for 56, meaning we have 72 hours of free time to do other things, essentially calling people lazy if they couldn't get it done. And like I was just saying, the 9 to 5 thing is what a 40-hour work week is, which is a joke, given the fact that most of the country most likely works more than 40 hours. But there's also so many things that go into who we are as people and what we need to do in a given week that are absolute absolute necessities. I cannot talk today. Jeez. But my job is one of those things, and it's really intertwined now, where I have to be super mindful of my time management, because I'm sometimes now going back to working on the weekends on purpose. maybe a client has to shift something. Maybe I am going to a training or needing to catch up on some stuff that I hadn't gotten done the week prior. But there are often times where I'm doing some work on Saturdays and Sundays. Not as much as I do during the week, but I am. And I have to be really conscientious that I'm now putting this more so into 7 days than 5, and to not be hard on myself when I do need a break during the week. I've been so conditioned to think that taking a pause or a break Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 is an act of cruelty, literally, because I think that's what I've sort of lived in with the corporate world is the hours that I have in my contract are these. I am getting paid for these hours. I cannot take a pause. I cannot take a break. So it was easier for me to let go on the weekends, but it's also now a really weird thing to have to retrain my brain on of, okay, so maybe tomorrow I will take that workout class at noon, which shouldn't feel as guilt-inducing as it does. I'm still working on it. I am still working on this as we speak. But I really need to be mindful of my time management because my life is very different these days than it used to be. While I am very grateful that I have the flexibility now with the job that I have, the world and job I have created for myself, it's also extra important to realize that I sometimes also have to work at odd hours because I'm the only one that will get that work done. Whereas in a corporate world, I used to have other people that I could rely on or go on vacation and someone could cover. Now it's really great because if it's 2:30 and I miss Ronan and I want to go get him, I get him. But I know in the back of my head, Sarah, like that means at 7 o'clock when he goes to sleep, you got to hop on and you got to get on and do that stuff that you hadn't done earlier in the day. So this identity crisis of this is I'm never off, but I'm also always off because I dictate that. So to live in this world is really bizarre. And the thing that I really live by is my time blocks and my calendar and reminding myself that the pauses that I need to take are okay at whatever time that is, whatever hour that is, because I'm the one making the schedule and I know I'll get it done. And if that's on a different day or on the weekend, so let it be. But my job is just one piece of me and it's not working 9 to 5 anymore, Monday to Friday. So I am ever grateful for what I am doing, but the piece of it that I don't know if a lot of people talk about, I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about, is the absolute identity crisis that I feel around it sometimes because it's confusing. And I spent 12 years of my life doing it one way, and now I am doing it in a very different way. So that's my identity crisis on working. The other thing that I've really been thinking about this week is the identity crisis over my title. So sometimes I can get really lost in what my title is, quote unquote. Is my title mom? Is my title freelancer, health and wellness coach, businesswoman, business owner, friend, wife, sister? Like, what exactly is my title? And if someone was to ask me, who are you? I have a really hard time answering that question. To reground myself, and many times I've had to remind myself that it's okay if my answer to that question, who are you, is I'm a person, period. I'm a human. I am lots of things. And because I love my metaphors here and I work in a very checklist kind of brain, I have to remind myself that me as a human is the parent project, is the overarching project. The rest of the stuff are my subtasks. So we're thinking of this as, Sarah, you're a person first. Like you live your life as a person. That's the project. And my subtasks are mom and business person and health coach and friend and crafter and wife and sister. All of those things go into the overarching whole. And it can be really overwhelming sometimes when I have to make a really rapid transition. For example, Like I'll be doing work and I'll be in my work mode and I'll get a call from school that I have to go get Ronan, and that's unexpected or that's not something I was planning for that day. And I really have to rapidly shift that. But going back to that parent project thing, like overarching parent project, like you're a person, Sarah, you're a human. This is one of your parts, one of the parts that makes up the whole. And so much of me wants to put on LinkedIn, I'm a human as my title, because I think we put ourselves in boxes and we get so caught up in being certain titles or being certain things, but we're really missing the whole picture when we only do that. And I frequently have to remind myself of this. It is why I'm talking about it on here. It is one of my identity crises. Gosh, I really need to figure out what the right word is. It is one of the things I struggle with because we're so complex. We're really complex and individual people. So we can't just be one thing, and that's okay. The last thing on my list of what I've been considering is the core of me. I guess this kind of relates to my title, but this is more so the attributes about me as a human. Because I was just talking to my little sister about this earlier today, actually, and she is 22. So she's in a very different era than I am in. We are 12 years apart. She is a recent post-grad, and we were talking about how much life shifts when you graduate from college. You go from this 4 years of living one way, which includes school and free time and activities and living in a certain way. If you're going to a traditional school like we both did, you know, your dorm or your apartment, and you're all in that same phase of life because you're typically living with people that are also in college. I guess some people may not, but that was my experience. We were talking about how life shifts. And it's interesting and also kind of confusing. She was also saying that, like, I feel like everyone's kind of having this weird turnabout now that we're done, which I completely get. And I used to be a wild party girl. I would swing from the rooftops until 5 a.m. I had boundless energy. I never said no to an event or a party. I'm really different now and I love my life, but sometimes I get into these brain spirals of, have I at my core changed completely? So what I've really been thinking of is, no, the core of who I am as a person has not changed. My activities have. And this is my take on it, and not everyone will probably agree, but I'm seeing this happen firsthand with my own child. I believe we are who we are the second we come out and the second we are born. Ronan has been at his core who he is since the first second that I actually met him earthside. And it's actually even really funny because even when he was in my belly, endless energy, never not moving, always kicking around, always doing something. He's a busy kid and he still is. So there's only so much nurture that we can do to influence the way that someone is at their core. And it's gotten me really thinking about who I am deep within my soul and making sure that I'm living my life aligned to that. When I say that my core has not changed, my activities have changed. No, I am not going out until 5 a.m. I wake up at 5 a.m. now to start my day and to do things. But who I am as a person has stuck around. I deeply love my friends and my family and people that I care about. I'm a deep empath, sometimes to a fault. I am still super type A, always actually have been. And I really like connection. So maybe that's not talking to strangers in the bar anymore, but it is this podcast. It is meeting new people and connecting with those humans and hearing their story. It is a different type of connection, but it's still connection. I still love my people extremely hard. I still am loyal to those that I care about. And back then, maybe the loyalty was, yes, maybe I'm a little tired, but yes, I'll say yes to going out with you because you want to go out. Now my loyalty looks very different, where I am extremely mindful and make sure that my husband knows that I'm on his team and we are in this together. And I will always work to help him with whatever we need to be thinking about. So the activities have really drastically changed, but who I am as a person, really not that much. The core values aren't that much different. My time is now invested in my family, and my activities are sleeping. Well, I have sleep issues, but you know what I mean? My activities are attempting to sleep well. So I do have the energy to do stuff during the day, not at night because I'm asleep by 9 p.m. To do activities with friends or family, to make people feel loved and seen. My connection now is making people that I interact with feel valued and hearing what they have to offer. So if you feel like kind of in this weird, even like a pre-kid, post-kid thing, I feel like this has happened. It doesn't even have to be as drastic as like me at 20 versus me at 35 almost. It can be pre-kid, post-kid. It can be how I operate in Phoenix versus how I operated in Illinois. We don't necessarily, at least I think, we don't necessarily change much of our core values. And so if you're feeling unaligned to an activity, that's one thing. If you're feeling unaligned to your core values, that's another. So I gut check my core values as much as I can. Although, yeah, I still get sort of in my own head and wrapped up on, am I boring? Well, no, because your life has changed. Like, no, Sarah, I probably should not be going out every single night until the dawn. Nor could I. Geez. I sometimes think about my stamina though. I do miss her. I miss that stamina. I feel like if I don't, if I get like 30 minutes less of sleep than I normally do, I'm wrecked. Anyway, that's one thing I do miss, but at least I still am true to my core soul. This was an interesting kind of thing to walk through and think through. All of this kind of relating to how things change and how I think of it. I'm not sure if anyone will relate to any, none, all of these. I think everyone kind of lives their life in different phases. And we also have to remember that. But it's cool though. Like when you think about the fact that I can relate to my 22-year-old sister in many ways, and I can relate to many people. And then the thing that I will say about that, and I am a true believer of this, it could be someone that you look at and think to yourself, there is no way I would ever have anything in common with that person. Maybe it's the way that they look or where they're from or how they dress or how they act. I swear to you, if you sat down with someone for 20 minutes, you would have more in common with them than you think. So give people a chance. I'm always on the quest to know more. I think the more you know is better. That's all for now. I will miss you on our break. Maybe take some time to catch up on podcasts. You can find me over on Instagram. As always, you can subscribe to my email newsletter if you want to do that. That goes out bi-weekly on Fridays. If you still want to catch up with me while I'm taking some time off from the show to spend a lot of time with family. That's part of the reason why this break is coming. We have family coming in. We have trips that we're taking, and I have to remind myself that rest is important and I need some rest. All right. I love you all very deeply and very dearly. And I hope you have a great Valentine's Day. You're all my Valentines. And I hope that someone unloads the dishwasher for you if that's what you want. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Welcome to My 10 podcast. I hope you had as much fun listening as I do recording. I am so happy to have you here, and see you next episode.